Welcome to the future. No more will we have to exist purely in our boring, normal existences. Make the world around you better with the Apple Vision Pro. Hello, fellow millionaires. It's your boy Scooch. And today we're going to be talking about a real hot topic, something that's very current. In 1838, Sir Charles Wheatstone was the first to describe the stereopsis and then created the earliest type of stereoscope. In 1995, we got the Virtual Boy from Nintendo. In 2013, the Oculus Rift was shipped out. And in 2024, we have the Apple Vision Pro. Welcome to the future, guys. Now, the Apple Vision Pro, has had a lot of hype since it was announced. And I mean, a lot of people wanted it. And, it's out now. And I think it's one of the dumbest purchases you could make as a not rich person. And honestly, even for rich people, I think it's just a dumb purchase. I mean, look, it's a toy, so that's cool. But buy it with the thought of it's a toy and not with the thought of it's the future. For one, Apple isn't even calling it VR. It's spatial computing. And mostly, honestly, it's so that they don't have to support VR gaming, because at launch, there are only 600 apps specifically made for the Apple Vision Pro. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, 600 apps, that's a lot. And you would be wrong, because then they go up to say, and the millions of iPad OS apps that already exist. The thing with Apple is they keep their monopoly, their ecosystem, real tight. And so while they want people to make apps for the Apple VR, and a lot of companies like Netflix, YouTube, all of them are saying we will not, they also make it very difficult for anyone to even come in and do anything. Will we see more apps? Probably. Will we see millions of apps made for this thing? Probably not. The Apple Vision Pro has been marketed as a way to work and do, day-to-day computer tasks, and not as a VR headset that, you can use to play games, maybe hang out with your friends, maybe do both. Watch movies with people, do all that stuff. And with all its limitations, reviewers are still eating it up. Apple fanboys, they're acting like this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, like it's gonna revolutionize technology. It's gonna bring us into the future. This is the future of computing. It's really not. They gotta stop with all the glazing, because it is insane. Reviewers really talk about this thing as if the Quest Pro doesn't exist and do pretty much most of the same things, and it's 1/3 of the price. It's actually less than 1/3 of the price, because the Quest Pro starts at $1,000. The Vision Pro starts, let's get that straight right now. It starts at $3,500. It isn't $3,500 outright. It starts at $3,500. You get more storage, yada yada yada, more accessories. It goes up in price. Okay. Not only that, but you have the Quest 3, which up until recently, because I have a Quest 2. The Quest 3 does a lot of the same things as well. Does it have the nicest screens inside? No. But it also is $500, 1/7 of the price. I'll admit, the Vision Pro looks really, really nice. But at the end of the day, you're going to look like a dork wearing a headset, just like with all the other ones. So what's the point of spending more money just because something looks nice and because it's Apple, when you could just look the same way with a Quest Pro or with a Quest 3? There are a lot of negatives to this thing, okay? For one, if you watch the Jerry Rig Everything video, it scratches so easily. And that's one of the things that Apple wanted to avoid. They actually have a case for the front of it because they know how easily it scratches. He literally tried to scratch test. He couldn't even get past the second level. Basically, if it touches anything on a desk or whatever, it's getting scratched. And replacing that front glass is like $500, I think, or actually I think it's more. The main headband that they advertise isn't even comfortable. Most reviewers have said, yeah, well, for long term I had to use the other one with the top support. Okay, so then what's the point of even having the first one if it's the whole point is for you to use this most of the day, and they're not even gonna make a comfortable headband for it? You have to use the secondary one. On top of that, not a great field of vision. MKBHD goes into this in one of his videos, that it's actually a little bit more closed in. Actually, it might have been a Denki video. He talks about how much more closed in it is than what you actually see in recordings. The battery connector, fully proprietary. So again, you got to buy stuff from Apple. You want another cable? Gotta buy it from them, unless, you know, some Chinese factories start making them. You have a PC and no Mac? Well, the adapter for that is $300. That's right, you can't plug this straight into your computer. If you want, you can pair it with a MacBook, but if you have a PC, $300 for a developer's little adapter. Quick little side note, I was editing and then I actually ended up watching a new video, and the developer strap actually is not just for Windows. You need it to plug into your Mac as well, which I think is worse than what I had said anyway. So yeah, $300 to plug it in to your Mac or your PC, and you have to be a developer to get it. So yeah, the personas, don't even get me started on the personas. Those are the scariest looking things I have ever seen, okay? And a lot of reviewers have been like, it's so close, it almost looks like me. It's like it's like that uncanny valley effect, you know? You can kind of tell who it is, but it also like stretches your face out like a lot. And it has this weird like Gaussian blur everywhere except for like this much of your face. Now, the avatars in the MetaQuest aren't realistic, but they also don't look like disembodied souls from a 1970s movie. You know what I mean? They're just avatars that kind of look like you, but it's a lot more friendly than what the Apple Vision Pro has. Now, I've listed a lot of cons here, and that's because I wanted to list all those negatives before looking at some of the ways that some YouTubers try to really spin this as a positive thing for the Vision Pro. You know, for a lot of startup companies, you could cut them some slack for first gen products having flaws. However, Apple's one of the most powerful, richest companies in the world that have been working on this headset for a long time. And on top of that, it's $3,500. I think it's fair to say that we could be a little bit more judgmental of this first gen product from Apple than from a startup. One of the videos that I watched was MKBHD's Tomorrow's Ideas, Today's Tech.
Like, this is an incredibly fun piece of tech to play with, and I am loving watching the pieces of media built specifically for Vision Pro. I am loving playing some of the new early games that are taking advantage of the 3D space and the hand controls. I am loving the idea of getting on a plane and editing videos on my Mac or watching a movie on a gigantic screen while the person next to me can't see any of what I'm doing. That stuff is all so sick. And if you're actually thinking about buying one, I think you should be able to expect to enjoy all of that same stuff too. But definitely still note that all of the symptoms of a first generation product are definitely also still here. It's heavy, it's not a lot of apps, the battery life is meh, and it's expensive. So here's the bigger question. Is the Vision Pro a guaranteed success in the future?
I'm gonna cut him off right there. No, not a guaranteed success, I would say. First off, yeah, it's a first gen product, but let's not cut them too much slack. Like I've said, Apple is a huge company with so much money. And it's not like they haven't been working on this for a long time. Some of these flaws are things that they could have fixed before they released it. Things that they could have worked on that honestly they should have had the foresight to be like, people might not like these things. It's heavy, it's clunky. The headband that we're shipping it with isn't comfortable. I don't think giving them excuses just because it's first gen is fair. They aren't a small company.
Because the first generation iPhone had all of the same downfalls in its generation, and look at where we are now. So also, same with the watch, same with the iPad. But here's the thing, you can't just say the other stuff had problems and it became successful, therefore this one having problems also means it's successful. It doesn't work that way. There has to be something about this that people actually like that makes them willing to overlook the first generation downfalls. And I think this has it.
I don't think it does. Now, this part, I will say, to me, felt a little out of touch on Marquez's part. And only because, to compare it to the iPhone, the iPad, the Apple Watch, I think is a little insane. Those things did have flaws when they came out and they were first gen. But they didn't also cost $3,500. Were they expensive? Yeah. But were they out of the price range of the majority of people, of 99% of people? No. This thing it's $3,500, meaning that the market is already tiny for it. It's people that have $3,500 minimum to throw away, because that's before taxes. Everyone has an iPhone, but it's because most people can afford an iPhone. It's just such a weird comparison of saying because it's first gen, it's like okay that it has flaws. And it's just like, it's not like those products. It's just not. That's not true. This is like further away from practical than those items were. The iPhone is a phone in your pocket. It has a lot of practicality. The Apple Watch was a watch. People use watches, and this added functionality to a watch. This does none of that. It doesn't add to anything that we need day to day. One of the ones that I think really bothered me was iJustine. And, I think fair to her, she is, known as, she bought the first iPhone ever. She was first in line. She got it. Like, that was kind of like where her fame started. She developed her tech channel from that. So I can understand her bias towards Apple because of the history she has with them. However, I also think that that's the problem when reviewing a product that in a way you're kind of marketing to your fans, right? Is you have a huge bias.
Everything that Apple has ever done is all leading to this, the Apple Vision Pro. Here it is.
Everything Apple has ever done was leading up to this. I think it's safe to say that Apple at no point thought the culmination of everything we've created will be a headset. Apple made this with the intention of, this is an expensive toy we're going to sell to people and they're going to buy it because we're Apple.
Spatial computing is the newest term that you'll hear be tossed around, and until you actually experience the Apple Vision Pro in real life, it might be hard to grasp. Its ability to transport you into another world while staying inside of your comfy, cozy Apple ecosystem is what really sets this apart from other headsets.
First off, spatial computing is not that crazy of a term, okay? It literally is exactly what it says. Spatial computing. You're computing using your computer or doing computer things in your space. Also, we can see in some of those clips she's already not using the headband that they advertise and everything. She's using the secondary one because it's more comfortable for day-to-day use.
Of course, the price does as well, but this really is unlike anything I've ever experienced.
She also says this is unlike anything she's ever experienced. Either she's never used any of the other headsets, or she's really, really just pushing overboard what the Vision Pro does. Like, she's hyperbolizing what it does, because it doesn't do anything that's that much crazier than any of the other headsets on the market.
Looks like we have a solid light. It's time to go in. I can't believe this moment is here.
This is one of the few headsets currently out right now that doesn't have an internal battery, which I think is crazy to me. You have to have this battery plugged in at all times to even be able to use it. So not only is it already heavier than most headsets, you have something else you have to carry and be connected to that's also heavy. But yeah, I guess this is the future.
Oh my gosh. It's happening! Whoa! There's an Apple logo that just popped up! I can see everything! I see you! A little hello has just written itself across my screen? Oh my gosh.
Okay, here's one thing that I will give MKBHD props for, because he does talk about this. He made almost a whole week's worth of content off the Vision Pro, and in some of his other videos, he is very critical of some of the things that it is failing on. And one of those things is that it does not reach the full spectrum of colors that human eyes can see. It can only reach about, and he says this, so I don't know how true it is, about 50% of the colors that you can see with your eyes. So some things are not as vivid as they are in real life. So for her to say it's like seeing through your eyes, while this is, yes, her first wear, it's not actually true. Now, this next part in this video is one of the things that really, I was just like, there's no way people think this is that amazing, right? Because it is one of the most horrifying things I have ever seen.
Faces are impressive, I think.
Right?
Very, very. It's just at the edge of Uncanny Valley.
Huh. Let's look at these faces real quick. Now, we can see who they are, and if you watch them, you would know who they are. But also, if you've watched them, you can tell this barely resembles them. And MKBHD's mouth barely moves while he's talking. And on top of that, why does it have this weird Gaussian blur around your face and only show this much? Like, I understand that's really all you're gonna look at when you're talking to a person, but I think that's what makes it look even weirder, because when you're talking to a person, you can still see the outline of their body. It's not this blurred. Like, this is a whole new level of blurred. It's crazy. And their faces are stretched out. Ryan Trahan, and I'll talk about him later on in this video, uses it with his dad, and his dad just makes fun of it because it looks so creepy and weird and barely like him. It's just, it's crazy.
Like, you gotta try it. Like, if you're not gonna buy one, that's fine. Just so that you're getting your mind wrapped around what the possible future looks like for spatial computing. Not only for Apple, but there's so many other headsets that I feel like are gonna be kind of going in this direction. So not only for content creation, shooting spatial video, for advertisers, for marketers, like, this is a whole new world and it's here. So buckle up.
No, I doubt marketers are looking at this as a new way for them to work on anything, because they're like, companies already said that they don't plan on making apps for the Vision Pro because it's just not worth their time. So what would make companies be like, yeah, we're going to put a lot of time and invest money into marketing inside the Vision Pro? Also, to say other headsets are going to be moving in this direction. Other headsets have already been doing this. They're not moving in this direction. They started this direction. Like, what? I think it's okay to be a fan of things and be a fanboy of Apple or Android, whatever you're a fanboy of, but also, like, realize, like, Apple isn't revolutionizing anything. Like, they're just taking a next step in something that was already started by other companies. There are a lot of companies doing stuff like this. To say other headsets are going to be moving in this way, no. Apple is moving in the way of those headset manufacturers. Casey Neistat had a video about him using it all day in New York City, and I think at the end, his little spiel about, you know, this is the future of all computing and yada yada yada, I think also gives it too much credit.
Strangers all around me, the real world moving all around me. But I had like a big screen up where I was watching a Mr. Beast video. And then over here I had this keyboard that I could interact with. And over here I had my iMessages. And over here I had my Apple TV and then all of my apps. And they're floating in Times Square in the middle of New York City. They're floating there and I'm actually there. And there's actual humans around me. And in that moment, I was like, holy shit, this is it. This isn't the future of AR or VR. I think this is the future interface for all computing. I think when they figure out how to make these not be these heavy $4,000 metal ski goggles, but maybe they look like these glasses or something even smaller, that is what it'll be. In the morning, you won't remember your phone. You put it on and then that's it. And it's like, hold on, I've got a call. Hey, what's up, Mom? I'll call you back. You look great, by the way. And that's what it's going to look like.
You know, I think, and I'm realizing this now as I'm watching these videos, and I think what kind of bothers me is that these YouTubers are reacting to this in the same way as if you went to a grandparent or an older parent and showed them something on your phone that they had never seen before. And they're like, no way, you could do that on your phone? That's insane. Like, they really geek out about it. And when they do it, it's cute, right? Because they're older. Like, they don't really know a lot about tech, and they weren't born with tech like we were. But some of these people were born with tech, or their tech has been a huge part of their lives. And so for them to react about this Vision Pro as if it's the Matrix, I think it just like makes me cringe. Like, it kind of just gives me the ick, I guess. Like, almost like how people on TikTok talk about like millennial core stuff. For them to just look at this thing and then completely disregard everything that's been done by every other company and say, this is the future, this is amazing, this is crazy, nothing like this has ever come out, like this is the craziest thing ever. Like, no, it's not. let's just sit down for a second, be a little bit more self-aware, okay? Reel it in, which I think MKBHD did. Let's reel it in and really look at what we're looking at here. It's just another VR AR headset. That's it. It's not the future. It's not the Matrix. This isn't the future of anything. I'm not going to react to Ryan Trahan's video here because I think you guys should watch it for yourselves fully, just because I think it is one of the best videos on the realistic side of the Apple Vision Pro. And in the video, he does a challenge, 50 hours in the Vision Pro, no using other technology, so no phone, no laptops, nothing, which is kind of how these YouTubers talk about it, that this is the future, right? You're not going to need anything else besides the Vision Pro or a headset on your head. So he gave himself the challenge, and obviously it's early stages, so there aren't many apps. And already, like, from the get-go, he begins to see all the problems with it, right? You can't use it without having other tech on you because it is missing so much functionality. For one, he tries to get like an Uber, like a ride share, and only one app is on there, and there's only 3 drivers in his whole city. He also later on shows how little use like it actually has for multiple hours throughout the day, unless you're someone that's at a computer for your whole day. Because after a few hours, he was already kind of bored and trying to just kill time by just drawing and stuff, because there isn't much to do in it right now. Like, there's almost nothing. Like, the apps, 600 apps is not a lot of apps when you think about how your phone has millions of apps. You know, your computer has millions upon billions of programs that you can download. Another point he makes towards the end when he meets up with his wife is, this is something, because she asked him if he's going to be using it a lot, and he made a point of something that I can relate to. I have a Quest 2, and I go through phases of using it every few months. I don't use it once or twice a week. It's like I'll use it like for a week or two every few months, and that's how it is. And he says, yeah, I could see myself using it again if there's a huge update, and then I'll use it for a little and then use it a few months down the line again, but not all the time. So if you guys want to just see a more realistic side, I recommend go watch Ryan Trahan's video. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it already. He's huge. I don't need to promote it, you know? Look, at the end of the day, I do love the style of the Vision Pro, and I do think it's a really cool toy. Let me put that out there. It's a cool toy, cool tech toy. And if I could afford it, I would get it. But I'm a hater, so I'm making this video, okay? While I do want it, I do see that if I had it, it would also be like something that other people might look and be like, that's kind of stupid, right? Also, I don't see this revolutionizing the tech world. These are already being made, so I don't understand what it's going to revolutionize when there's a lot of VR headset companies already. That's my thoughts on the Vision Pro. If you have one, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. I would really love to hear what you think of it now that you have one. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe. You know, thanks for all the love on the last video. I'm really trying something here that, like, you know, this is kind of like rants I go on all the time in person. So if you like these, make sure to subscribe, share them, like and comment, guys. I really appreciate all the love, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
All right, guys. So I finally tried Apple's Vision Pro. And, you know, I have to say that before this, I expected that Quest would be the better value for most people since it's really good and it's like 7 times less expensive. But after using it, I don't just think that Quest is the better value. I think that Quest is the better product, period. And, you know, the different companies made different design decisions for the headsets. They have different strengths. But overall, Quest is better for the vast majority of things that people use mixed reality for. Now, my friend Kenny is actually capturing this video on Quest's high-resolution mixed reality pass-through right now. We're just here in my living room, and you can see his browser windows and whatever else he's got running up here. So yeah,